Hello, it's Leanne Jago here again for Art and Soul Studio. Today I'm just going to do a project that ended up being called Your Form is Perfect. So we've started this one off with just my monthly delivery, if I'm good, from Art and Soul Studio. So I'm just going through it quickly now with you. Got some really cool products and I really wanted to try a couple of things out. So when I do my order, I sort of get something that I've never ever used before and see where it takes me. And I thought I wanted to start the background with a Gelli print. Mine is a really big plate. It's a 11 by 14, I think it is, or 10 by 14 or something along those lines. So it is a decent sized plate. So just using some acrylic paint. So I'm using Dina Wakley's Media acrylics. I've also used some Derwent acrylics, some of the new ones that I got in my pack, which were the DecoArt Media Fluid acrylics. I've got them in the Diarylide yellow and the Pyrrole orange. Excuse my pronunciation, but why do they have to call these things weird names? Anyway, and I'm also using some. In the Dina Wakley's, I've used some ruby, some black, some ocean, and some elephant, just for something a little different. Just use the new Carabelle Studio artMask that I got in my pack as well. So I'm just going through the process now. Now the cardboard that I'm actually using, I went to just a local art supply store, and they have some. They're the mats, like border mats. And they have these off-cut pieces, so I love to use them because they're the big size. So what I've done then was actually stamping just with my Carabelle Studio Art stamps, just randomly through it. I just like the texture. I mean, I think those who've watched my videos before know that I love that subtle texture in the piece. So you can see what I'm doing there, just stamping. And then had a little bit of paint left off that stamp. So I've always got some little, so I suppose, pieces of paper laying around, so I've used that. I ended up using two different large size backgrounds just because it wasn't working. I even just did a little piece then in just an art journal, sort of just playing with the backgrounds. I don't do things probably the proper way, I suppose. I decided it needed some blue, so I put some blue in it, and I put too much blue in it. There's that mask again. I actually really like that mask. It's actually quite good, and it's a great size. It's an awesome size mask, which is great. Just cleaning off my plate there now. Right, let's go through and have a look at the products that I got. So these are the Artsy Book Pages ephemera. It's a Book Pages one. They're just a fine, different sizes, really lightweight paper, so great for mixed media pieces. Just going through, selecting a couple that have taken my fancy, I suppose. I really like the dress form, so I think I knew in the back of my head as soon as I pulled that package out that I wanted to use that dress form. So choosing which background piece there to use, and there we go. So I'm just using the DecoArt matte medium just to apply that little strip. It's just a piece of greaseproof paper that I was using to clean up. And I'm not specific about where I put things, I'm just sticking them on, basically, and seeing where it goes. This piece did not work for me. I'm nearly out of my DecoArt matte medium, so it didn't stick. So I think I end up just using a glue stick just to stick it down. Yep, there you go. So note to self, need to buy more matte medium. I think I'm just looking for something here. There, Book Pages. I had my idea that I'd seen these people that have done like a photo transfer using dictionary papers. So I tried to do that. Please note I did say try to do it, because it just didn't work. It just wasn't coming off, and then parts came off, which was really cool, and other parts didn't come off. So in the end I just went, this is telling me something that just needs to be left just like it is. So yeah, that was me deciding that let's just move on. Spent too much time looking at this, so let's go. Right. I knew I wanted that part of that piece there. So I've just applied this, it's a 7 Gypsies Architecture's Finding. It's a dress form. So I've just got out some of the Dina Wakley Media Acrylic paint in the black, and I'm just outlining it. And I'm actually using a makeup sponge and doing an outline like I do, you know, I like black. And then filling in down the bottom because I didn't want the legs in it. Decided that I needed another circle over there. A lot of this is playing and going with it because I don't actually have a plan. All I knew was that I wanted to use that ephemera piece, the dress form, and there's a lot of media hype and pressure, so societal pressure about dress like forms, your shape. And a lot of us find it very difficult to accept our shape, so I think I wanted to do this project on something to do with that, you know, no matter, we're all in different forms and we should be happy with what we've got. So I just used a Stabilo in the white Marksall to see whether I'd do a border there. It wasn't working. Decided I needed another circle down the bottom there. And then I'm just sort of letting this process take me. So I really like this Finnabair stamp. It's called Now Is the Right Time. I got it from the shop last month. I used it on that. So just pressed it into a piece of the paper just to see what happens. And then I decided to use a distressed oxide. It's in the fired brick. It's like a red colour. So I stamped it into that bottom circle. So it ends up being there, just pretty much raw like that. And I actually really like how that came out. So yeah, we'll wait and see the end product. So this is that Carabelle Studio artMask. I mean, it's huge, and I love it. And what I've done here is I've just got some light matte medium, light modelling paste with Liquitex, and using a Liquitex ink in the Cerulean blue. I just use a drop, mix it together with that, and combine it with a little bit of Matisse transparent gesso. I really like this. It comes through, it dries pretty thin, pretty transparent. So I've just added it through a couple of pieces there, and then you'll see what I do is I just get a little bit that's left over and just swipe it, and then swipe out the edges so that it doesn't look so precise, I suppose you want to say. And then drying that, I mean, I really love. If you haven't tried those Liquitex inks, give them a go, especially if you mix them with fluid acrylic, mix them with the modelling paste or even just a transparent gesso. They really pop and I love it. I've decided the black wasn't black enough. The fluid acrylic was just too fluid and not black enough for me, so I've gone around it now just using some Matisse black gesso. It is pretty thick, and yeah, I applied the first coat there with the sponge, which is not what I usually do, so I needed to get my fingers dirty. I think I just was too clean. Decided just to roll on some of the yellow that I mentioned earlier from the DecoArt fluid acrylics, just to add a little bit. It wasn't quite right, so yeah, I just put some on my messy mat, used a brayer, added it in there, added somewhere I needed to go, and then it just doesn't look right. There's not enough stuff happening. So using just my Atelier gesso primer in the white, just swiping some of that on there just to grunge it up a bit. I think it was looking too clean and not messy enough for me, so I needed to go from there. I was going to go around the circle with that Stabilo pen, but it just wasn't working for me. So I gave it a couple of attempts, different sizes, and then just went, that's not right, so wiped it away and moved on. Still too clean, so using some of the orange, just swiping it in with my finger just to add a little bit of colour just around the place. That bit there I wiped it off because I really didn't like it, just wasn't working. That's okay. Made a bit of a whoopsie, we'll cover that up later. And then a little bit of the red. the ruby that I got from the Dina Wakleys. So now it's starting to look messy and it's more me, so this is where I'm kind of liking it. Deciding what I need to do next. That's the heart punch, the heart stamp that's part of that Finnabair Now Is the Right Time stamp collection. Using some ruby red ink there as well, just to go over it. And I keep looking at that dress form, the middle of it, and I'm thinking something's not right, so we'll get back to that later. It was bugging me the whole time. So then I've just got a Tim Holtz stencil, just rubbing off some paint, making some more texture marks in there. And then it's not textured enough. So I just got out my Liquitex modelling paste and just adding a couple of swipes around the place. See that dress form goes, put some over that. And then I got out the DecoArt media. It's the Crackle paste. Now, I've never ever used Crackle paste. I've been crafting, scrapbooking, making art for a lot of years now, and I've never ever used that stuff. Never ever used the Crackle medium. So, you know, this is my first time. Probably applied it wrong, but I put some thick bits and some thin bits. And then I've just got Carabelle Studio stamp. I love these things, just to add some more texture. Bit of that red ink. It's a Stampin' Up ink, and it is a water-based ink, so it does move. But I kind of like the texture that it gives, just randomly applying it. And then when I add water later on, it sort of, some of it disappears, some of it stays. So then the black, I've decided the black circles around these things are a bit too much, so I'm adding some white. I did just spray it with some water, just to make it a bit more fluid for me. Now here is where I start to get happy with it, that I'm really liking where this whole picture's heading, like the whole image. Highlighting that heart, I think it sort of faded into the background a little bit. Adding some more of that stamp. Trying to be good and cleaning it as I go, which doesn't always happen. Some people will kill me if they actually saw my stamps. There we go, my favourite, my all-time favourite, Stabilo around it. Stabilo marks all, in the black. Adding some water, making myself a border. Defining some of those circles. Making things pop a little bit more. And I have a really bad habit of not letting my white, or not drying parts of my layouts or my projects properly before I add things. So my Stabilo sort of went a little grey when I added it because the white wasn't dry properly yet. So you can see I'm going through and I'm adding things again. And I loved how this has worked around this dress form. It's just popped it, it's just made that form stick out so much, and I absolutely love that part of that project. Okay, now I'm going through finding a quote. I know that top right hand corner, it needs, that's where this quote's going. This is something to resonate with you about your form. So I've applied it up the top there. You'll be able to see the close up of that one later on. Okay, outlining. When I pick up those sticker quotes, it's a Tim Holtz Idea-ology one. A lot of people will put the strip down. I hate the strip. I don't know why. It just doesn't feel right for me, so I always cut it up. I always go around it. You'll see it on a lot of my things. And now, down in the left-hand corner is where I know I need a title. I need the I suppose the purpose of the layout, the purpose of the project in my form, like about the form in my head. So I went through some things to try and find out what sayings I needed. They were a Tim Holtz set. Nothing stuck with me. And then I was thinking, I've got these really punchy old, like these are super old letter shapes here. So that's what the form's written from. And then I got my good old trusty Dymo tape just to add the rest, because I really want a couple of words to really stand out, like, you know, to really get people to think a little bit more. Like, we all have these problems. We all hate some part of our bodies. Like, every single one of us. I know it. You know it. So, yeah, that's where I was going with that one. I'm pretty sure those, and then I added these other letters because I didn't have enough, and I am 100% sure that they are October afternoon, but I did not write them down. I don't know why I haven't written them down, but I haven't. But yeah, I'm sure they're October afternoon. The perfect part wasn't standing out as much, so went around it with my good old Stabilo. I'm telling you, if you have not got one of these in your set, in your kit, you've never played with them, get them out. I used to do a lot of this work with pens, and then I just found that they were too black, they were too perfectly lined, or they wouldn't cover everything, they wouldn't stick to everything. So the Stabilo pencil, it is a pencil. You can make it look like a pencil, I suppose. And yeah, they make things stick out. So yeah, those letters, they definitely are October afternoon. I have had them for a long time, but there was something about them that's made me keep them all these years, where I've just chucked stuff out, but I've kept them. So I'm pretty much done with this. Just a little bit more of outlining to do. So yeah, your form is perfect. I think it's a poignant reminder to everybody who's going through some stuff that, and we all dislike bits about our bodies, but remember that it is our body, and we are all different. And don't let someone tell you that you aren't perfect, because you are. So yeah, so here we go. Some close-ups for you. I love how that dress form has ended up. You can just see that crackle through there, and that stamp. It's a bit grungy, bit of texture happening there. But yeah, I really like how these pieces come together in the end. So thank you for watching. It's Leanne Jago here again for Art and Soul Studio. So don't forget to head over to the website, artandsoulstudio.com, and check out